Now I'd like to offer you some recommendations for some exercises that you can do at home to help you grow in your understanding of the notation as well as your sight singing abilities. The first thing I might recommend is getting yourself a little whiteboard like this, just a small tablet-sized whiteboard, and either a bullet point tip or a chisel tip. Chisel tip might be easier for drawing the square notes, as you don't have to actually draw the outline and fill it in. You can simply drag the chisel tip to create a square very quickly. So the first thing you want to do is practice drawing out the staff lines. Then you want to practice drawing both of the chant clefs, the C and the F, the do and the fa clefs. The do clef looks like kind of like a C or a telephone symbol, and that is your C or do clef on the top line. And with the whiteboard like this, you can easily erase it and then draw it again on a new line. The fa clef is formed by drawing the C clef, the do clef, and then adding a virga to the back side, which kind of makes it look like an F. Then what you can do is practice writing out just abstract melodies. You don't have to worry about whether it sounds good. Just practice drawing the various kinds of simple neumes and individual notes so that you get familiar with their forms and place them at various different intervals. Just mix and match. So let's take an example here. I'm going to draw out just any abstract melody. So now I've written out just an abstract melody, just mix and match, combining different forms of random simple neumes to create a practice melody. So let's first note, I've placed the do on the top line. So we know that this is do, and we know that this is do, the lower do. So if we were to sing this, it would sound like this. Do, mi, la, sol, fa, sol, la, ti, do, sol, la. But that's with do on the top line. So keeping the melody the same, let's now change the do clef to the second line. So now we've shifted the do clef to the third line, which then tells us that the third line is now do, the top line is now mi, and the bottom space is also mi. So without changing the notes at all, we've just shifted the clef, we have an entirely different sounding melody. Let's see what this one sounds like. Mi, sol, do, ti, la, ti, do, re, mi, ti, do. Very different, simply shifting the clef, which changes the position of the diatonic scale on the staff. Let's change now this do clef, keep it on the third line, but change it into a fa clef and see what that does. So now the third line is a fa, which means that our bottom first note is la and our top note is la. Let's see what this sounds like. La, do, fa, mi, fa, sol, la, mi, fa. So in this example, it's almost the same as the previous example. What's different here is that when this is a fa clef, we have a half step between this line and this space. There is a half step. So this is do and this is ti. So there's a half step here. If we change this to a do clef, then this becomes do, ti, la, sol. This becomes fa, and this is mi. So now the half step is between the bottom note and the first line. So that's what's different between, in this example, between this being a do clef or a fa clef. The rest of it's the same. The only difference is the half step is inverted here. Now let's put the do clef on the second line. Now we have the do clef on the second line, which then tells us that the third line is now mi, the bottom space is now sol, and the very top note, the very top line, is also sol. Let's see what this sounds like. Sol, ti, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi. So there you have it. These are things you can do at home as much as you like and in as many different ways as you like. Get yourself a little tablet-sized whiteboard, marker, and practice drawing the staff, the clefs, and various note forms at all kinds of different intervals to practice writing them, to understand their forms. You can also practice writing out their names. It's not necessary, but it's a good practice to do also. And then practice sight reading them. Also, practice drawing the degrees of the scale next to the notes, which can be helpful for you if you're new to sight reading. If you found this video and information useful, please click the like button, subscribe, comment down below, share it with others, and check out the other videos here at the Gregorian Chant Academy.